So I want to tell you a story for all ages. A story we all can hopefully learn something from. The story of a young girl who picked a fight with 4chan. So jump in your time machines because we're going back to 2010. Jessi Slaughter, like any other attention-seeking youngster, started using different forms of social media at a pretty young age. She mainly used Tumblr, MySpace, 4chan, and even YouTube to a lesser degree, where she would post pretty controversial content for a girl so young.
It's Jessi Slaughter here, and this is to all you fucking haters, okay? Guess what? You guys are bitches, you know what? You don't faze me. I'm just doing this just so you can tell. I read the comments, I read the messages, I reply to them, but you know what? I don't give a fuck.
Jessi often posted about sex, violence, and tried to portray herself as some sort of untouchable internet badass to those that followed her.
I'm happy with my life, okay? And if you can't, realize that and stop hating, then you know what? I'll pop a Glock in your mouth and make a brain slushy, okay? Because you hater bitches, you're just, jealous of me. Just saying, you're jealous of me because, one,
Jessi had a habit of exaggerating events and straight up lying about her life to increase her notoriety. And a lot of the topics Jessi talked about were an obvious concern considering her age, and led many to believe that her parents were neglecting her and weren't playing the active role that they should have been. Others thought that she needed somewhat of a reality check. On July 10th, one of Jessi's lies would soon catch up with her when someone posted about Jessi being the victim of sexual assault, supposedly by the lead singer of Blood on the Dance Floor. Remember, Jessi's 11 at this time, and this could be a very damning accusation for anyone. During this time, a post was made on 4chan in regards to Jessi's accusations, and this caused her to be trolled by many users on 4chan and blogging sites like Tumblr, who knew Jessi's propensity to lie. But instead of just riding out the wave of hate or ignoring it, she took it upon herself to take the fight to the trolls of 4chan themselves. She wasted no time in uploading a video, insulting them, and even egging them on.
So yeah. And don't try and make smart comments at me because I got a shitload of comebacks. So, and if you hate me, you know what? Suck my non-existing penis, okay? Just suck it. Get AIDS and die.
4chan did not take this sitting down. Well, seeing as they're trolls at a computer, they were in fact sitting down, but you know what I mean. First, they continued their Tumblr assault. Then, a separate anonymous group of trolls from 4chan's notorious /b/ subboard gained Jessi's real name and location from her personal social media accounts. And being the diligent, stand-up e-citizens they are, they took it upon themselves to troll the living hell out of her and her family. Here's an example of some of the messages that were sent to her mother. They quickly followed it up by alerting the authorities in her area that she may be in danger to herself or others because of posts regarding self-harm. Some were motivated by trolling, but others were generally concerned for her well-being and looked at her content as a plea for help from a troubled young girl whose parents should be more involved in her internet activity. Sadly, they were vastly outnumbered, and Jessi and her family were the victims of a full-out 4chan raid. They ordered pizzas, they sent some good old Craigslist massage therapists to the family's house, they made false CPS reports. The raid was swift and fierce, but didn't last long after many criticized them for attacking a girl so young. Until July 14th. Jessi, following the wave of harassment, she posted an angry and tearful response video on YouTube, where her father Gene suddenly bursts into the scene and commences the spurging of a lifetime.
Now, this is from her father, you bunch of lying, no good punks, and I know who it's coming from because I've back traced it, and I know who's emailing and who's doing it, and you've been reported to the cyber police and the state police. So you better write one more thing or screw with my computer again, you'll be arrested. End of conversation from her father.
And if you have any understanding of internet behavior, culture, I'm sure you're well aware that this is not the way to deal with anonymous trolling or bullying online. See, the trolls at this point were winding down, and a lot of people involved were starting to realize that regardless of what she says, they were in fact trolling a little girl. But when Gene burst into frame, threatening to call the cyber police and backtrace, it just reignited the mob and gave them a new target. Except now, their numbers are growing along with the family's notoriety. They quickly flooded online message boards with memes of Glenn, parodies of his epic speech, to recruit more trolls to their cause.
And I know who it's coming from because my back traced it, and I know who's emailing and who's doing it, and I know who it's coming from because my back traced it. Consequences will never be the same, and I know who it's coming from.
Then they used a tactic called Google bombing to manipulate Google Trends so that rumors implying Jessi's father was drugging her with PCP would show up in popular searches. Many internet blogs and news sites picked up on this baseless accusation. In addition to the prank calls,
Hi there. May I ask you a few questions, please?
Who am I talking to?
Miles Grant from the police department.
Excuse me?
This is Miles Grant from the police department.
Yeah, and what's the matter?
A disappearance of a Mr. Derek Cooper who we believe to have been associated with your daughter.
My daughter's 11 years old.
I know, ma'am. I just would like to ask you a few questions.
I don't believe you. I really don't.
I understand that, ma'am. The reason I'm calling you is recently in one of her YouTube videos, she said, and I quote, "I'll pop a Glock in your mouth and make a brain slushy." Shortly after this was released, Mr. Derek Cooper had went missing. And from an anonymous tip we had received, she had actually been harassing him recently, using very foul language towards him.
family began receiving death threats. Because of this, on the evening of July 18th, a little over a week from when this all started, Jessi had been temporarily removed from the home, and the local sheriff began a criminal investigation into the calls, along with the family itself. The court ordered her to stay off the internet. Unfortunately, that was only for 3 days. Once Jessi's story went viral, the mainstream media caught wind of it, and the Slaughter family was interviewed on the events that led the family to this point.
To this point,
Now speaking only to GMA with her parents, Jean and Diane, it's the first time the 7th grader has been out in public since her videos ignited a firestorm.
Jessi's story is one of the first stories about online bullying that was brought to the attention of the general public. YouTube also started purging itself of videos containing Jessi or her father to cover face. And in the following days, you really get to see the effect this had on them. The family claimed to have to sleep in shifts because they were afraid of apparent death threats, even after the authorities assured them that there was no danger. Even though Jessi's internet activity was the catalyst for the 4chan raid and trolling, her parents, for some reason, still didn't see the need to restrict her access from the web. And on August 2nd, when Jessi was participating in a group chat session, she got in an altercation with her father where Jean ended up smacking her across the mouth.
Don't unplug that computer!
There's such a fucking mouth. Don't tell me come back tomorrow and I might give a fuck. Jessica, I don't trust anybody. Anybody. Especially your friends.
As a result of the fist fight between Jean and Jessi was ultimately removed from the house and put in foster care. Her father, Jean, would also be charged with assault. No new videos of Jessi would surface until the unfortunate death of her father a year later, when he passed away from a sudden heart attack, which the family claims was inevitably caused by the harassment they received. The video was uploaded by an acquaintance to Jessi, and she apologizes for the accusations she made before.
Jessi Slaughter here. I'm saying sorry for everything that I've done. I feel really bad about it now. I'm in foster care. I have been locked up in mental institutions, and just like you Done Goofed said, I do have to go to counseling now and everything, but it's not because of you.
Jessi's story is a great example of why parents need to play an active role in their children's internet activity. If Jessi's parents simply restricted her internet activity, or at the very least monitored, the whole situation could have been completely avoided. But on the other hand, this whole situation may have brought to light a much bigger issue within the household itself that may not have been noticed otherwise. From her father's reaction to how ignorant both parents were with their child's actions and behaviors online, it just shows how Jessi's parents were ill-equipped to raise a child properly. Even after all these events happened, the attention Jessi got from the whole experience would affect her long term. For the next few years, Jessi would make brief appearances online, and her behavior never really improved. She would often brag about her drug use, her sexual conquests, and as Jessi got older, more and more information would come out shedding light on the extent that her unmonitored internet activity had on her while she grew up, which led her to struggling with bouts of depression, threats of self-harm, identity issues, and there was even rumors of her living with a much older man. Thankfully now, Jessi Slaughter has faded out of relevance, which is in all honesty the safest place for her. As of 2018, Jessi's in her early adulthood living on her own and goes by a different name. She still is active on social media and has a small following, but other than the occasional leaked sex tape that proves she still hasn't learned much from her past, she's slowly fading into obscurity like other great memes of that era. And ultimately end up where all dead memes go.
Hello Internet, and welcome to Behind the Meme. Today we have a look at the Savage and Evil Patrick Star meme.
Fuck, I hate that channel.